Hello everyone, I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to The Audio Analyst. I've had the pleasure of experiencing the entire Magico voyage unfold. Well, once they went public, that is. Yet, the lead up to that stage is also quite significant. In 1994, more than a decade before he founded the company we now know as Magico, Alon Wolf set out to build the perfect speaker system for himself. Now, as Alon was putting the finishing touches on the design of his all-aluminum, four-way dynamic driver reference loudspeaker, it occurred to him that he hadn't yet explored what may be accomplished with compression drivers fitted into very large horns. Now, his initial experiments with them proved remarkably rewarding, and these discoveries were coincident with his meeting of Bob Noctegal, a fellow audiophile. And shortly thereafter, with the aid of Bob and a small group of fellow West Coast audiophiles, Alon was commissioned to design and build the best possible loudspeaker that could be created. Thus began the 4-year project that resulted in 2001's The Ultimate. But it was with the official launch of the Magico Mini in 2004, an extremely well-received $22,000 monitor with stands, using a ScanSpeak Revelator tweeter and a 7-inch vapor-deposited titanium midwoofer in a constrained layer sandwich, that the company we now know as Magico burst upon the scene. Now, I first heard the Mini at CES 2008 because, honestly, I'm not really into monitors. I'm a full-range kind of guy. But it was with the launch of the floor-standing $18,000 V2, using a pair of 7-inch Nanotech mid-bass drivers and their proprietary Magico 1-inch ring radiator tweeter, followed by the larger, more refined-looking and sounding $25,000 V3 in 2009, that really opened my eyes and ears to what Alon and Magico were up to and capable of. Now, at CES 2010, I was quite taken by the remarkable combination of the original Magico M9, driven by an entire suite of Cyril Hammer's solution electronics. It turned out to be one of the more remarkable sounding rooms on the lower floors in the Venetian. Transparent, articulate, detailed, and so natural and relaxed that I was consistently drawn into the music. Then, in the following January of 2011, in my 3rd year as judge for the Consumer Electronics Association Innovations and Engineering Awards, I was quite pleased to name the Magico Q5 as the winner of the High Performance Audio Award for that year. The following year, the introduction of the Q7 won my Best of CES 2012 award. Now, these have been followed by many other remarkable introductions, including the S1, the S7 with the S series of subwoofers, the affordable A3, the M3, the M5, and the remarkable S5 Mark II. Now, as remarkable as each of those was, none of them would begin to compare to my introduction to the heroic and astounding M9, Alon's most successful design to date. Now, before I try to relate my M9 experience, I feel it somewhat imperative that you understand the whole of that experience, that I outline and define all the various and distinct factors that it took to create this remarkable, unsurpassed sonic accomplishment. Now, to do so requires an examination of the construction of the exotic, heroic M9 itself, as well as a closer look into the remarkable sources, electronics, cabling, and ancillaries used to drive them, and the contributions of the exemplary bespoke space that was created in which to house all of this and allow them to articulately express their singular voice. First, remember that we are talking about a massive, exotic, and expensive loudspeaker. At 1,000 pounds per channel, the M9s retail for $750,000 a pair. Magico's use of a broad variety of technologies, including such new and significant tools as the clippable near-field scanner system and laser vibrometry. Hi, Boo. Okay, that's enough. Were critical to permitting them to establish new benchmarks in several respects. So let's take a closer look at the technologies required to realize this prodigious loudspeaker. Standing 80 inches tall, its enclosure is assembled from 3 separate carbon fiber monocoques. The 2 lower segments, one housing both woofers and the second incorporating the tweeter and mid-range, are pre-assembled and shipped as one unit. The uppermost element, holding the 2 mid-bass drivers, is then situated atop the lower unit for final assembly at the speaker's destination. Now, the lowermost portion of the assembly starts with a 40-inch diameter oval base at the floor, tapering as it flows upward, holding the 2 Nanotech 15-inch woofers. These ultra-stiff, ultralight drivers employ 5-inch diameter voice coils wound on titanium formers. Now, the narrower segment just immediately above the woofer housing contains their 6th generation 1.1-inch beryllium diamond dome tweeter, which saw its first application here in the M9. The extremely thin layer of diamond that is vapor deposited on the beryllium dome affords a noteworthy increase in the dome's stiffness, with negligible impact on its overall mass. Just above the tweeter, we find the Nanotech 6-inch mid-range. Now, the top section continues the narrow flaring of the housing and holds 2 11-inch Nanotech mid-bass drivers. All the mentioned Nanotech drivers are 8th generation and are fabricated from a sandwich of carbon fiber and graphene skins over an aluminum honeycomb. Now, though it's formed over a backbone and front baffle fabricated of machined aluminum, much as the M-Series, the enclosure walls of the M9 are fashioned from panels made of aluminum honeycomb sandwiched by an inner and outer carbon fiber composite skin, and the whole structure uses a complex triangular system of cross bracing. Now, to accomplish his lofty goals for this statement design, Alon deemed it necessary to design the system to be actively bi-amplified. Now, this led to the design of a line-level outboard analog 2-way active crossover at 120 Hz between the 15-inch woofers and the rest of the speaker. Each external crossover weighs another 40 pounds and includes its 60-pound power supply. Now, along with the $750,000 Magico M9s, a pair of Magico Titan 15 subwoofers at $32,000 each were also employed to assist with room correction. Now, if you know what you're doing, additional subwoofers can be used to compensate for room resonance, allowing for the overall improved quality of bass throughout the entire room. The thing to understand is that it's not about adding more bass. It's about distributing it much more evenly throughout the entire space. Now, such multi-woofer applications reduce standing waves through destructive interference, providing the most linear and consistent frequency response at all locations in the room. Now, it should also be apparent that you don't just feed these enormous beasties any old audio signal and expect audio nirvana. No, you want to drive them with the most accomplished associated system of components available. Now, here, the resulting sources, electronics, support systems, isolation components, and cabling were comprised of a system with a retail north of $1.5 million on its own. New Zealand's $30,000 Antipodes Alondra music server fed the $115,000 MSB Select DAC with its dual power supply. Electronics were Pilium's Divine Electronics, built in Greece, featuring the $50,000 Alexander preamp and using 2 pairs, that's 4, of the Pilium Hercules monoblock amplifiers at $85,000 a pair to bi-amplify each M9. Now, the gear rested on a mixture of several $34,500 Magico MRAC 3s and the $45,300 Magico MRAC 4s. Magico Q pods at $1,450 per 3-piece set were used under all the smaller equipment, with the Magico M pods at $3,400 per 3-piece set used under all the larger ones. Now, the system also features a pair of $5,900 AudioQuest Niagara 5000 power conditioners made in the Netherlands, the Taiwan-built $36,000 Telos earth grounding monster, as well as an entire loom of Orion silver reference cables from Rome's Vita Laboratory Audio Solutions. Now next, all this remarkable gear was installed, set up, and painstakingly dialed in a custom-built, no expense spared, utterly optimized listening space, co-designed with interacoustics that, on its own, cost another $750,000 to fabricate. Now, this room's impact on the resultant sonic achievement cannot be overlooked or understated. Now, this room's phenomenal contribution was immediately apparent by the overwhelming change affected in the nature of our voices during even our casual conversation as we moved from the adjoining hallway into this remarkable space. Now, to that end, Magico has created a time-lapse video over its 5-month construction, which unfolds over an amazing 3 minutes and may be seen in the link provided in today's description section. It's pretty interesting, so you may want to check it out. But the synergy created by the convergence of these 3 exceptional, exotic, and remarkably costly conditions simply cannot be ignored when considering the spectacular sonic results that left me near speechless on first listen, and are considerations that will clearly present limits to the number of listeners who will have the opportunity to live with, let alone hear, such an amazing system. But I cannot overstress to you here that, as presented within this exceptional setting, the M9s were permitted to present the least colored, most authentic sounding, and musically engaging performance of any loudspeaker I've yet experienced. Hearing the massive, supremely engineered marvels that are the M9s, in their exceptional, dedicated installation, has established a new benchmark for an electromechanical transduction system, allowing it to accomplish that grandest of deceptions. Their unmatched resolution and the resultant transparency into the recorded event that it wrought imbued them with an ability to all but vanish from the perceptual experience of listening to a recording, leaving only the more convincing sensation that I was in the presence of live music and is unsurpassed in my experience. Now, if you follow the channel, you'll likely recall just how dumbfounded I was, to the point of being nearly unable to form complete sentences during E96 Talking with Magico's Alon Wolf, recorded with him immediately after our remarkable listening session. Now, I feel completely justified in describing the Magico M9 to be an unparalleled audio engineering marvel, a technical accomplishment so remarkable that words alone may simply be inadequate for the task. They really must be experienced to begin to be understood in any manner. Now guys, no matter the music played, jazz, country, new age, pop rock, dance, ambient, hip-hop rap, singer-songwriter, classical, which, by the way, was all file-based, no streaming, left me rapt with the degree to which these immense loudspeakers vanished in this venue and got out of their way, leaving only the music. Their overall clarity, a result of the elevated level of resolve that I touched upon earlier, and the supremely refined, heightened sense of expressiveness that it affords them, was irresistibly compelling, shining nuance and detail into every space and note of any recording they were asked to reconstruct. One of the most tangible experiences that I can share with you to give you a sense of just how clearly they eclipse the performance of other top-tier flagship loudspeaker offerings came in how they reacted, or more precisely, didn't react, to the regeneration of the infrasonic bass lines that permeate James Blake's popular indie electronic alternative hit, Limit to Your Love. Now, with this track playing at significant volume, I walked around and laid my hands on the M9's woofer enclosure, expecting to detect some degree, no matter how slight, of the sympathetic vibrations of the baffle walls to these deep and powerful bass notes. None existed. Listen to that again. None. Now, I do not mean they were modest or minute in size, making them difficult to perceive or identify. I mean they were non-existent. I could perceive absolutely no sympathetic cabinet motion anywhere on the entire M9's baffle or enclosure, even with this demanding, deep bass playing at volume, causing other items in the room, like the listening chairs or my pant legs, to pulsate in consonance. No other speaker in my 5 decades of experience has had its enclosure this effectively silenced. Guys, this experience joins a very special and concise list of similarly memorable audio watershed events for me. John Dahlquist's demo of the DQ-10s in the fall of 1973. Hearing John Curl's game-changing Vendetta Research SCP-2 for the first time in the early 1990s. The Von Schweikert Audio VR11 at Richard Beer's Renegade The Home Entertainment Show 2004. The surprising Granada UB2 loudspeaker at CES 2010. The original Magico Q7s at CES 2012. Or the revelation of the new era of Von Schweikert Audio with the unveiling of the Ultra 11 at Axpona 2017. Each of these events represented irrevocable advances to the state of the audio arts. And this was an experience that not only reset the bar for the level of fidelity that I have experienced from the playback of recordings on an electroacoustic transducer system, but also left me wondering how, or even if, I would be able to find and apply words from our argot fitting enough to express the degree of sonic achievement realized by Alon's masterwork, the Magico M9s. While I'm still not sure if I'm up to the latter, these remarkable transducers establish a new pinnacle, both for their unsurpassed accomplishments and for the efforts and imagination of Maestro Alon Wolf. As always, thanks for taking the time to drop by today. Further information on supporting the channel may be found in today's description section or at my website, theaudioanalyst.com. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. Till next time, cheers.